Governor Roy Barnes, born 1948, American attorney and politician. He's the most recent Democrat to serve as the governor of Georgia. A Democrat member of the Georgia Senate from 1974 to 1990, ran for governor once and lost. He was in office as the governor from 1999 to 2003, so I don't know if he was termed out or not. 1999, after being elected governor, he banned lobbyist gifts. Facing re-election, Barnes lost in November 2002. He was defeated by Sonny Perdue, and so he's been out of office
Ms.
for a
Cross,
while.
assuming this may be a 10 to 15 minute witness, does the state have other witnesses on deck that they would like to go forward with as well?
Yes, we've called to gather everyone we could, so we can go forward with another witness, I believe, after this one.
All right, appreciate it.
Okay, so he has not been in office apparently since 2002, so it's been a while. So he may have had some other involvement. Apparently he exited office January 13, 2003. Okay, so he's been presumably doing a bunch of other, work related to legal work, and he has returned to his legal career. So now he has this group called Barnes Law Group, and in 2010 he ran, but he lost in 2010. Ran for governor again, lost again. So he's been out of office for a while. Right now he has Barnes Law Group, so that might be what we're talking about. Looks like that's him walking into the courtroom right now. There he is, up in the top right, and he'll be taking the witness chair.
Roy Eugene Barnes.
Former governor of Georgia.
Royeugene Barnes, Barnes.
Good morning, Mr.
Morning.
Barnes. Can you tell the court a little bit about your background as it relates to in public service?
I was first elected to the state senate in 1974 from Cobb County, and I served 16 years there. And then in 1990, I ran for governor and was defeated. And 2 years later, I went back to the House of Representatives. I was elected to the House of Representatives and served 6 years till I was elected governor in 1998, and I served in that position till January of 2003.
And after serving in the position of governor, can you tell the court a little bit about what you transitioned into after your public service?
I did exactly what I was doing before I was elected. I went back to practicing law in Marietta, Georgia, with my daughter, who's now judge of the state court, and my son-in-law. And now we have, I think, 6 or 7 lawyers. Charlie Bailey back there was one of them at one time.
Okay. And Governor Barnes, would you consider yourself to be a trial lawyer?
Yes.
Okay.
We don't write contracts or we don't write wills. All we do is try cases.
And I want to direct your attention to 2021, where you were approached by the district attorney of Fulton County, Fani Willis, about being a special prosecutor.
I was. I don't recall the exact date, but I know it was sometime in 2021. And she asked me to come down, and I met with her and Nathan Wade, and there were several other in the meeting. She asked me, said they were beginning this investigation, and she asked me if I'd be interested in being special prosecutor, to which I replied that I had mouths to feed at a law office and that I would not do that. And also, I just had a bad, well, I won't say bad because it happens from time to time, but I just had the FBI to report a fella, a militia trainer, to me that said they were concerned that he was making threats against me. And because I thought it was because of the flag, but I asked him and he said, no, it was because I was too close to the Jews, quote unquote.
Whoa.
And I told D.A. Willis I'd lived with bodyguards for 4 years and I didn't like it, and I wasn't going to live with bodyguards for the rest of my life.
So ultimately, you turned down.
Yes. Yeah, I told her. I said, I'm not interested.
Nothing further from the state.
That was quick.
You said it was sometime in 2021. Do you remember?
I think it
early?
was. I don't remember the dates. They all go. I could look it up on my calendar at the office, but I don't have that.
Well, I want to ask you about some statements that Ms. Willis made March 28th, 2021. She was talking about assembling a team for this case. Are you familiar with her work assembling a team for this case?
Well, I assume that's what she was talking to me about, but besides that, I don't know anything.
And I know you had said you had a meeting with some folks and Mr. Wade was at that meeting?
Correct.
Okay. So he was with the district attorney interviewing you about taking this case.
Well, of course, I know Nathan very well, as you do. And I exchanged pleasantries with him, but the conversation was with Ms. Willis.
Okay, with Ms. Willis. Were you aware at the time that her team consisted of Brian Watkins, Megan Vargas, Sonia Allen, Shannon Trotty, Sal Chan, and John Floyd? She had reported that was her team on this case.
I know John Floyd was involved, and she probably told me the others, but listen, I barely remember what case I tried last year, much less every word that was said in the conversation.
I understand, fair enough. But she said she was looking to hire more lawyers and investigators to work on this case.
She told me, it was to me, she said, would you be interested in being special prosecutor in this case? And I gave the reply that I've already known. I mean, about hiring other lawyers or whatever. I don't know. All I can testify to is what she told me.
Did she tell you at all why she wanted to hire special counsel and not use someone who was an ADA, not have an actual employee?
No, she did not. I mean, we did not discuss that, but I would assume it was because in a case as big as this that you'd have to have some additional help. I know John Floyd has been in some cases over the years out in Cobb County, for example, and others.
Would you agree that an employee of her office, someone who was paid a state salary or a county salary as an ADA, could handle a case like this?
I couldn't tell you that unless I knew the person, knew their experience, and really had been with them in a courtroom to
All right.
pass an opinion on that.
Thank you.
All right.
Say no.
Hello, Mr. Sadow.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
This guy knows everybody.
I'm doing fine.
Been
Just
around
getting older,
forever.
but that beats all attorneys.
That's true, but that applies to all of us. I think you indicated that if you had your calendar, you'd be able to pinpoint a date for
I
it.
would.
Is there a way for you, for example, at a break before you actually leave to contact your folks to see if you can get a date?
Can you check your
Yes,
phone?
I could. I don't know how far back we archived those, but I assume I could.
Would you be willing to give that a shot for us?
I mean, I'll do whatever the court instructs.
So if I ask the court and the court says, go ahead and you could do it, that's all right?
I'll do whatever the court instructs.
I hear it.
And you should too.
I try to live by those words. I'm not always successful, but I try. If I pinpoint a date, for example, I think the record is clear that Mr. Wade was hired for the position on November 1 of 2021. Does that help you at all?
No, it does not.
Okay, then let's go to the meeting. It sounds like it was just one meeting.
Yes.
And could you tell us where that meeting took place, if you
It
remember?
was in the conference room adjacent to the district attorney's office.
So was it in this adjoining building?
It was in the Lewis Slayton building, yeah.
And District Attorney Willis was there, obviously, right?
Yes.
And Mr. Wade was there?
Best I recall, now I could be mistaken about that. It's like anything that far away, but that's my recollection.
Do you have a recollection of anyone else being present?
Yeah, there was some other folks, but I don't remember.
Do you remember, were you introduced to Mr. Wade by anything other than you already knew him? Was he given
No,
a title
I
or
wouldn't have
anything?
known him.
So at least as you're there, heard you correctly, Miss Willis did all the talking, Mr. Wade did not.
I mean, we exchanged pleasantries, but as far as the basis of the conversation, the reason I was there, Ms. Willis did the talk.
And would you be able to give us an estimate how long this meeting lasted?
Probably an hour.
And during the meeting, you made it clear, but it was the thanks for the offer, but no thank you.
Oh, yes, I did. As I said, I started off as a prosecutor, and for about 10 or 15 years, I did nothing but criminal. But I've tried to move away from it and do primarily civil now. Mr. Gillen and I have done some white collar cases over in federal court. I've got one over there right now, but it's generally business related,
So-
where I have a client that's got a kid
High
or
profile,
him
lots of
getting
money,
indicted. And the case I have over there now is an alleged fraud case.
very expensive cases.
Fair to say that based on your career and the work that you've done, you've handled high profile cases, correct?
I
Yeah,
have.
big money.
I've handled some pretty good cases. I sued Syria one time for beheading a client of mine. and
Syria?
Recovered $83 million.
$83
I
million.
guess that's the best high profile, but that was in D.C. I tried that up in D.C.
And what would be considered complex cases, you've handled those as well, correct?
Yes. I mean, we regularly do mass torts, class actions, business torts, breach of contract, and most of those are complex requiring many experts. We also do malpractice. I did malpractice defense for about 25 years, but since I've returned from the governor's office, I try not to represent an insurance company anymore. And I just tried a malpractice case before Judge Edlin in November. And those are complex cases because of the type of medical knowledge and that you have to have, and also because of the many experts that you have.
Thank you. This is the last question. Did Miss Willis tell you why she had sought you, why you had been her choice?
No, I hadn't, but I get consulted fairly often on major cases.
Would you believe, based on circumstances in which you were given the offer, that it had to do with the fact that you had handled complex and high-profile cases in the past?
It could have been. I know her very well. I tried a case against her. She worked for the JQC, and I represented Judge Robert Crawford, Matt Crawford, and she prosecuted him, and I defended him. She beat me at the trial. I turned it around at the Supreme Court.
So you had some experience.
Oh, I had plenty of experience with her. She's a very qualified everybody's young to me, but she's a very qualified young.
After that one occasion, did you have any other contact with her in reference to the position itself or who she might be?
I had some conversations with her or Jeff DeSantis or some of those, but not really in depth, about who she should hire or anything like that.
Did the name Nathan Wade come up in those conversations
No.
with her?
Nathan was there, I thought. Now, I could be be mistaken, but I thought Nathan was there when I
For the
think
conference.
Nathan was there when I met with him.
Right. And my question was probably poorly worded, but what I was asking is after the conference and whatever consulting you might have done.
Yes.
Did Ms. Willis or Mr. DeSantis bring up the name Nathan Wade as a special prosecutor?
I don't think so. I don't recall one. I mean, Nathan is a good organizer. You know, Nathan can organize stuff. I've watched him over the years, so I wasn't surprised that he was acting as a special prosecutor.
And Mr. DeSantis, for the record, who was that? Jeff DeSantis?
Jeff DeSantis.
Do you know who he is?
Oh, yes.
Could you tell us who he is for the record?
Jeff works in the DA's office. I knew him when he worked for Thurbert Baker.
What his role in the DA's office is?
I have no earthly idea.
Is he in media? Does that sound familiar?
He has done media in the past. I like Jeff, and I'm very close to him, but he's generally been on the other side of my campaigns.
All right, so we're talking the best of your recollection. Conference, we don't have the date. I'm asking if you could possibly get it, but the conference you have, Mr. Wade could have been there,
Yes, I'm almost sure he was there.
and Ms. Willis, obviously, and Mr. DeSantis was there.
I think Mr. DeSantis was too.
And as far as whether there was anyone else there, you don't
I
have a
don't
present
recall.
recollection?
No.
Okay.
Next time I'll take a picture so I'll have an exact.
Next time, hopefully, you won't have to be here.
Well, hopefully not.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Gillen,
I couldn't give up the chance getting up here, Governor. Good to see you again.
Good to see you,
We've
Craig.
done some work in the past together, haven't we?
I consider you to be one of my best friends and a crackerjack lawyer.
Well, I will
Wow.
say to you on the record that I can understand why they came to see you because you're the finest lawyer that I've ever worked with.
Thank you.
Wow.
I need to put you in the next day.
Yeah, there you go. We'll get that. But one or two more questions. You and I working together when it's appropriate, we've had no qualms about filing motions to disqualify the DA, have we?
No,
Matter of fact, you and I successfully disqualified the DA out in Cobb County in the Brown case, didn't we?
we did.
So whatever needs to be done should
You
be done.
represent your client.
You got that. Thank you so much.
Easy.
Mr. Couture, are you still with us by Zoom?
I am, Your Honor.
All right, any questions?
No, sir.
All right, and can this witness be excused?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor,
Thank
is there a way that we could eventually ask for you for that date if you can get it?
The question is, you want the exact date that the meeting occurred? And I'm wondering if it's really material, the exact date rather than just its proximity to the November 1st hiring. Is that fair? If he knows whether it was far earlier in the year versus maybe closer, would that obviate the need for the exact date?
The exact date, of course, we'll take the best we can get.
Okay, let's start there.
I'm not sure I have this.
Check your phone calendar.
Well, let me try this first, Governor Barnes, before you do a deep dive in the email there. Do you recall what time of year it was when this meeting occurred?
I'm afraid not.
Okay.
I mean, you know how this is. The cases and the days move together. I had a fellow a few years ago that said I represented him in 1978. I told him I'd take his word for it.
You gotta ask you wouldn't do that if it was a question of him saying he just ate.
No, I would not. I will tell you, I believe lawyers should be well paid, Mr. Sada.
All right, so sir, that's something.
I'll have to look. It didn't come up right here.
Okay.
I'll have to.